This video is made for adult collectors because this toy has the ability to flash people. I like most of the movie redesigns, but there are some I don't, and this is one of those ones that I really just don't like. It's one of those game drones with the one eye, like Dropkick and this plane thing, which sucks, please do not get one. But Swindle is probably the most notable one, and as a toy, he kinda fails. He's just all over the place. Like, look at those arms, what even is happening with those? Those shoulders are just, ugh. With how far they stick out, and the doors. Those doors are also on such thin ball sockets that are made of clear plastic that I have had several people tell me that theirs are broken quite easily, so please be careful if you do buy one of these used. His elbows are also like in a weird spot and they bend. It's I don't get it. The head is just an eye, and the light piping doesn't really work too well. It also looks ugly to me. It's just an eye with no real good shaping, unlike Dropkick, whose head looks a lot nicer. His loincloth likes to flop around a lot, so he can just flash people with his pee-pee randomly. The legs though, they actually look decent. The way it uses the car parts and the legs and the details revealed are quite nice, and they change the shaping of the car bits here, so it's a neat piece of simple conversion to achieve a very different look from the dumpy ass car. Now, let's talk about the belly button gimmick, the infamous belly button. He has two options, innie or outie. I don't get this. Like, I get what they were going for, but the execution is just really poo. It even looks like a poo. It's goofy and funny and made my grandfather laugh, so it's entertaining at least, I'll give it that. But the amount of times I've accidentally set it off, especially while making this video, is just really annoying. Also, the torso doesn't tab in at all, so he likes to come apart a lot. Like, a small tab would have been nice, but they just relied on the friction of the joints and it doesn't work at all. He literally just starts falling apart sometimes. 2007 movie toys is like that era where you don't buy the toys for their posability. Because it was like right off the heels of Cybertron, you got toys with a good amount of posability, but they had gimmicks in them and other stuff that would sort of get in the way of that sort of perfect articulation thing that a lot of people are used to nowadays with toys such as this. He almost fell over. So with this guy, his head doesn't move. It wiggles a little bit. Ooh, but that's as far as it goes, so I don't count that really. Shoulders are on ball joints, and he's got a backwards butterfly joint, so there's a nice range there, but they still look stupid. They look so stupid. I don't understand what is happening here. Excuse me, I don't understand what's happening there. These are on ball joints, and as I said, they like to come off real easily, and they break, so that's always nice. Actually, wait a second. Yeah, mine's already cracking. There's a stress mark. That's the stress mark. You can see it. That's great. Okay. I gotta be careful with that. Elbows can bend all the way. Wrists are actually on ball joints. I wasn't expecting that, so you can get like a good range of motion there. They bend all the way in. No clue why. The loincloth. Oh, and this. Every time I move them around, this is constantly being like pushed out or set off. Like, I can't even set it off without pushing it out. There we go. But yeah, that's constantly going. Stay together. Constantly going. You have a waist joint. Right. Oh my fucking god. Stay. 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 Oh my lord. Hips can go forward. They can go back. He feels out of focus. They can go out about that far, then the armor gets in the way. There looks like there's a thigh swivel, but I can't get it to move, so I assume it's just not there. So we're gonna go with no thigh swivel on that one. The knees are really stiff, and this one bends a full 90, which is great. But this one only goes that far. I don't know why. I honestly have no idea why it only goes that far, but it only goes that far. And it's also extremely stiff. And then you have the feet that can go down and up, which I appreciate. There's no ankle tilt, but like that wasn't really common at the time. Like you had a lot of times in 2007 where toys' feet were sculpted at an angle, or they were just straight up like that. But yeah, that's all he really, okay. This doesn't tab in like at all. This doesn't tab in at all. This doesn't tab in at all. So it's really, I know it's manhandling it there, but if you're just trying to like get him into a pose, these will move on you constantly, which is really annoying. And then there goes his torso. There goes the button. There goes the windshield. It's not a pleasant experience to mess with. And his loincloth just flaps. So it's a robot mode I'm not a big fan of. Well, how is the main gimmick of this toy, the transformation? Well, I'm actually going to show you some of the most frustrating parts about this. Sorry, Andrew. So while I'm not necessarily going to walk you through his transformation because I don't need to do that, I'm just going to sit here and transform it and then talk to you about the issues I have while I get to them. So like, I love this though. That's just fun to do. It's a series of nice little flips. You flip that, and then you flip this around, and you got the back of the car. It's really nice. Then the rest of it just kind of is dookie. Get this out. I think my dog's going to bark in a second, actually. No, we're good. Rotate the waist. So this, when you go to plug this in here, it doesn't really like to, unless you do it in a very specific way. You got to get everything just sort of angled correctly, and then you can peg it all in. Otherwise, everything starts to stick out in the alt mode, and it looks hideous. Well, even more hideous than it does normally. Like, see, none of this is actually lined up properly. So I have to like sort of get in here and mush it around until it sort of fits. There we go. And then, the automorph on this thing also kind of sucks. Like, I like automorph when it works, just like the next person, but it does get in the way quite a bit. The hell, man? Come on. Ooh. Okay, that's moving out. See, I didn't get that right. Now I gotta go back and redo all this because it's just... Oh, and there goes that. You're so close to being this. You're so close to being this. Let's... peg in. There we go. Alright, we got that all sorted. And now let's get the doors in place. And the friggin' butt flap is now going. Stay shut. Oh my god. Stay. Okay, that was me dropping it. Stay. Well, there we go. That's the car. And the trunk has already come undone again. Alt mode is an approximation of a Chevy Cobalt according to the wiki, and they couldn't have picked a more bland and boring alt mode than the Chevy fucking Cobalt. It's a normal everyday car, which I like. It's a nice change of pace from the constant sports car alt mode like Jolt, but unlike Jolt, they went with a car that looks hideous. It's awful looking, I hate it. That front end bends down a lot and the back end flares up a bit too much for me. It's like someone heated the whole alt mode up with a hairdryer and just bent the ends of it. You can press the button to shoot his belly button out like it's a boost thing, but it looks like he was trying to shit and was interrupted halfway through, and it's just, you know, he should probably see a doctor about that. It's a figure. I mean, I don't really like most of it. I always see it as an in a bag, in a bin, at the shop figure. Like, that's what this is. You just find it in baggies. I paid 15 bucks for it, and I feel like that's too much. Maybe 10 would have been a good price for you if you really want one used that is sealed. I mean, you know, retail price makes sense. But yeah, but then again, I also found out recently that the retail price of this was $10. But that's been my look at movie 2007 Deluxe Class Swindle. I almost said Camshaft, which is the other one. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.